This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
All right, good morning and welcome to another edition of the new sports show, which we have, and I'm going to bring Leo up here because Leo's here. Leo, welcome to the show, Leo Haggerty. Excuse me.
Look at that. Hey, Ralph, I have to make a correction. Not another edition, the first edition of Sports Rap. We have rebranded, my friend.
Yes,
Great
we
shirt,
have.
by the way.
We have rebranded this show. It's now called Sports Rap, and we will be here at the same time every Saturday morning on the same networks. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X platforms on my end of things, and we're also on the South Florida Tribune Network and on Huddle Sports Network on Roku and Fire TV. So I just want to let everyone know we're going to be real soon on the Sports Bible, which is coming up as well. And so, all right, let's get started with our show here. This is, we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios, 724-201-0500 Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. We're in Studios 808 in the Allentown section of the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Hey,
all right.
Ralph.
Yes.
Leo has a question before we get started.
Oh, good, Leo. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. Is it Sports Rap R-A-P or Sports Rap W-R-A-P?
W-R-A-P. And you know what? Here's the reason why I decided to do that. That's an excellent question, Leo. Excuse me. Back in Detroit, they had a show named Sports Rap on WJR Radio, which was run by Frank Beckman. It was one of the better shows in that area. And I thought, you know what? I'm going back home to come up with this idea to rebrand the show. And since it was so good in Detroit, I thought we should use it for our thing. And there's no doubt in my mind that it gives us an opportunity to keep a positive light on sports, information, journalism 101, which, Leo, you and I all know all too well, my brother from another mother. We do. This is us, man, on site. I was even telling Ralph that as the show goes on and I go to other events, I will be on location, whether it's at a racetrack or whether it's Marlins Park or wherever I go, that we have a live presence. So I decided to go back, Leo, home to Detroit to come up with it. And I thought there's no reason why that all of us can go out there and benefit by this. And I don't think there's any question that this is something we could all be proud of.
Nostalgia and tradition are good.
Absolutely, brother. Thumbs up to you, my friend. Great to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you. I was worried I was going to have to go down and check for cement behind your ears or something.
All you have to do is check what I'm doing at the Super Bowl, man. I talked to Sirianni. I talked to Jalen Hurts. I talked to a lot of Eagles, Chiefs, you name it. If you pay attention to what I'm doing, wait a minute.
He did a really good interview with him. He did a good interview with Juju, man.
I got some great, yeah, that's right. We had Juju Smith-Schuster on Fire Up on Thursday night. So I got some, Leo, everybody, our audience, I got over 30 some odd videos that I'll be digging out of this thing for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And you know what? I'm not complaining. I'm just salivating over this, man. Seriously, really. I got to get those 2 words in, by the way.
Okay.
And just a little FYI, they are in the English language and Webster's dictionary. Seriously and really, I just maybe might have to do another trademark on them in the way I go about doing things. And by the way, Mr. Philadelphia, I had an opportunity to take a picture with Stephen A. Smith, Mr. Philadelphia, as well, and we shook hands and exchanged pleasantries.
All right, that is great, Scott. Great stories from the Super Bowl. It's great.
We got plenty more. You guys are just getting warmed up, man. Really.
All right, our first segment here. We're going to, as you know, we rebranded the show called Sports Wrap, and we also have moved our bum segment to later on in the show. So we're going to start off with our first segment, and it's brought to you in part by Lessons from the Microphone, Scott's book, Enduring the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can also Amazon and from Scott's publisher as well. 45 years of broadcasting experience right here in one book. George Eichhorn contributes to it, who is a contributor and also puts articles on the South Florida Tribune as well. And check out Scott's paper, the South Florida Tribune as well. Also, all right, let's get started with our introductions here. Leo Haggerty, Amped Up Sports. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to, and how people can get a hold of you.
Well, you can get a hold of us at Amped Up Sports on Facebook, Twitter. We're all over the place there. Yeah. And if you're more into reading articles, we post a daily video. But if you'd rather read them, go to ampedupsports.com. I post every day. We had a little glitch in the computer, but we finally got that out, and I'm getting those back posts up. Should everything be caught up by Monday? But yeah, go to Amped Up Sports. You'll see us there.
All right, Pensman Sports, welcome. You're our guest today. Welcome to the program. Pensman, tell us a little bit about yourself, how people can see your shows and whatnot, and good morning.
Good morning, and I'm busy covering the Face of the Nations. That's what I'm working on right now. I am on YouTube at Pensman Sports. I have 742 subscribers. Let's get that 1,000 mark, and you can find me on Twitter X at Pensman Sports.
All right, Scott Morganroth, good morning. Welcome back from the Super Bowl, New Orleans.
It's great to be with you guys again, especially under the format and the way we really changed things up. This is going to be an unbelievable ride for us.
Oh, yes, it is.
But with all due respect, you did a darn good job promoting my book. So what do I have left to do? Oh, that's easy. How about subscribing to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel? Go to YouTube, South Florida Tribune, hit that subscribe button. You get all the updates that we have, including Sports Wrap. Also on Twitter X, I don't know. I'm still nostalgic, Leo. I can't help it. I still call it Twitter. You can find me at Tribune South over there. Our website is Ralph mentioned, www.southfloridatribune.com, and we have a lot of great stuff in here. I love that team. Once in a while, we're hoping to get Leo, when his schedule allows it, to come on fire up, because with his energy and his knowledge, he's a fit for any show that this guy goes on, because he is our version of Robert Redford the Natural, but this guy brings it to you, man. I don't know if you've ever been called Robert Redford, but there's always the first time for everything, Mr. Haggerty. And one thing I should mention before we move on, just so you know, people in Detroit really, really, really like you, because I used to live off of Haggerty Road in Farmington Hills.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right.
Citation Club Apartments, just to let you know.
I know up in Detroit, there's a big Haggerty car dealership, too. So, yeah.
But I know about Haggerty Road because I had my mail shipped there for a couple of years on Citation Club Apartments. So, Haggerty Road, Leo Haggerty, you see the connection? Thumbs up. I have two of them until they go backwards, and then I got bigger problems back at urgent care. No, kidding with you.
All right, I'm your host, Ralph Williams. Welcome to the rebranded show called Sports Wrap. And I want to thank Scott Morganroth and Leo Haggerty for hanging in here with me. We had some issues with the last name. That's in the past. We're going to we rebranded the show today. We're still going to have our fun segment, but it's going to be more toward the end of the program. So, that way we can get you started with some of the topics that we're going to talk about today. The topics we are going to talk about today is Lamar Jackson versus Pat Mahomes. Who's better? Who do you think is better? Can Lamar Jackson win a Super Bowl? That was a question on Twitter this week that I responded to. and I'll give my opinion soon. We're also going to talk about Fox Sports 25th anniversary of covering Daytona. How you like that one? And Scott's involved in that because of down there in Daytona Beach. Also, we're going to talk about Kellen Moore, new coach with New Orleans Saints, went out with a bang, winning the Super Bowl with Philly, and now he goes to New Orleans. Let's see if he can clean up that dumpster fire. Baseball season starts. We'll get our opinions as preseason opinions on who's going to win what, who's going to do what in our towns when we get to the local segment of the program. All right, let's get started here. First, we'll start Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson. Could Lamar Jackson ever win a Super Bowl? Leo, we'll start with you.
Well, I want to take it a step further. Let's include Josh Allen in that conversation. Can any of those two win a Super Bowl? I think they can. The problem in Baltimore is they're snake bitten. I've never seen a team that had more things that should have gone right going wrong. I mean, if they throw that ball to Andrews in the end zone 1,000 times, he catches 999 of them. Now we're into overtime. Now we don't know. Last year, they just completely forgot about the run. They should have won 2 games, and they didn't. Is it frustrating? Yes. But that window in Baltimore is closing quick. They may have another year or 2 out of Henry, but they need to do it now because once he vanishes, their offense is so unpredictable because you can either turn around and give it to 22 or because you got to play the run and stop him. You're giving Jackson time back there to not only look over the field, but to check out the environment and the landscape and say, man, I may want to run this. So, yeah, I think he's got a chance to win one. I think Josh Allen has probably less of a chance because they're just fighting an uphill battle because they got to go through Baltimore and Kansas City every year.
All right, RxJ says, hello, friends. Hello, RxJ. Thank you for being part of the program. Comment section's open if you want to chat. And guess what, folks? We have our biggest audience that we've had in a long time tuning in today. And I want to thank you as well for waking up with us every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. All right, let's go with you, Scott. Your thoughts. Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson.
All right, let me take Josh Allen out of the equation for this particular topic's purpose.
Okay.
And here's what I'm going to do. Again, mind you, I was at the Super Bowl. Didn't cover the game. I don't need to cover the game. I only covered 4 anyways. That's enough. Because the environment's changed a lot anyhow. Here's what I'm going to tell you right now. Patrick Mahomes is a way better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. Obviously, the rings and everything shows for it. He certainly had talent around him. In this particular game, mind you, I want to focus on Super Bowl 59 only. Patrick Mahomes literally got beat up, period. No hands down. Lamar Jackson's mobility may have been able to avert some of the beating that Patrick Mahomes took because you're able to move the pocket around, you're able to run laterally and do what you have to do. And yes, Leo, you're right. Derrick Henry, he did continue to go with the running attack, and I think only like 16 carries, if I remember correct, in that particular game. You can't do that. You need to run the football down after Kansas City. Keep in mind, though, Kansas City was involved in a lot of close games, and this time it bit them with Philadelphia because they were hungry, as that shirt of Haggerty's is indicating, and that's why that Eagles' mouth is wide open, because they were wide open. But on point, I'm talking about the game only. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind Jackson would have fared better against the Eagles because of his mobility, if for no other reason, period. That's where I want to stay with it. That's why I wanted to mention it in the show, because we all know Patrick Mahomes is a heck of a quarterback. He'll win his fair share of Super Bowls. Even Tom Brady lost a couple. It's not the worst thing in the world to lose Super Bowls, because remember, what you're doing right now is, well, okay, I don't mind you mentioning that. I get it. But it's not a crime to lose Super Bowls as long as you're winning them, too. Winning them. But Lamar has to get there. This game, I do believe he would have fared better than Patrick Mahomes because that Eagles defense was tenacious. Vic Fangio did a great job. What a shame, though. Not good enough to be in Miami because they didn't want to work, right? But then goes to Philadelphia up I-95 North, and all of a sudden he's climbing. Vic Fangio is climbing the Rocky steps. And the only thing, and I have some interesting Philadelphia stuff for the bum segment, but I'll hold on to stay on point. Lamar Jackson would have done better in this football game than Patrick Mahomes. And that's where I'll leave that.
All right, Pensman.
Well, the first topic is killing me because I'm a Steelers fan and Ravens are in the same division as the Steelers. So, but with that said, if you're going to be a good quarterback, you have to have a good offensive line. The offensive line has to protect your quarterback, and you have to watch your blind side. Numbers-wise, like Patrick Mahomes gets them, but if the offensive line protects Lamar Jackson, he has a good shot of getting into the Super Bowl with Derrick Henry, like Leo said, that window is closing. And Josh Allen, he's recruiting people. So with that, I think he can get to the Super Bowl. He just has to figure out a way to beat Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback out of the three, but Lamar Jackson has a chance to catch up. As much as it kills me, I'd like to see what Lamar Jackson does in the Super Bowl, even though he's in my division. But we'll see how it's going to go.
All right. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Pensman here a little bit, but I think the reason what's going on with Lamar Jackson is the fact that his head coach John Harbaugh and his coaching staff choke in the playoffs every year. What seems to happen is John Harbaugh, and he's done this against the Steelers many times, makes some really stupid decisions. And, I know you want to be aggressive. You want to go for it on fourth down all the time. But sometimes, take your 3 points and just take that and go with it. Instead, he keeps trying to gamble his way out of some of the mistakes he makes by going for it on fourth down. Then he has to eat it. I've seen that happen. Other players making mistakes. It's not all Lamar Jackson, and I'm not sticking up for the man because, as Pensman said, he's in our division with the Steelers and with the Ravens. But I've noticed that every time there's a playoff game, John Harbaugh and his coaching staff seem to screw things up. They make bad play calls, stupid decisions, and that's not all on Lamar Jackson. And, I think Lamar Jackson's a gifted athlete, but I don't think he's nowhere near the caliber of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is one of the best offensive coaches in the league in Andy Reid. And he has Matt Nagy as his offensive coordinator who's good at working with quarterbacks, was a stinky head coach. But you know what? Again, he's one of those coordinators that's good. So Patrick Mahomes has a good supporting cast and a good head coach that knows the offensive mind of everything. So that's my thoughts on that. So, all right. Okay, guys, let's go into our next segment here, which is brought to you in part by Alex's Flowers, 412-661-6071. Look, I know Valentine's Day is past, but you know what? Better late than never. Get some flowers out to your sweetheart. Delivery as well. Some great flowers. This guy's been in business for 30 years. Funerals, weddings, special events, and also for your sweetheart. Call Alex today. The number again, 412-661-6071, and check out his website, alexsflowers.com. And we're brought to, in this, our studio sponsor is Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-201-0500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. All right, let's get into Fox Sports' 25th anniversary of doing Daytona. I mean, that is a great track record. We've seen a lot of sports, and I think guys here on the panel agree, of different entities like the NFL, baseball, basketball, everything just moving around and around and around. And here Fox managed to keep Daytona in their network. So we'll start with you, Scott. Daytona and the Fox 25th anniversary.
Great stuff. Great topic. Appropriate weekend to do it. I had an opportunity to interview Mike Joy a few years ago, and there is a pun intended. Joy was a pleasure and a joy to talk to. As far as Fox Sports coverage is concerned, they've always been strong, efficient. But the one thing I want you guys to keep note of is that Daytona 500 will be airing in over 190 countries.
Wow.
190 countries. So, excuse me. Sorry about that. The magnitude of the event is what it is. I've been to a couple, covered one. Unbelievable opportunity. Go to Daytona. Anyways, I covered the Rolex 24. That was incredible. But Daytona 500 is what it is. Yeah, everybody comes there at the Super Bowl. That's obviously their Super Bowl of the year. And Fox is taking it under, and they've done a good job with it. One thing I should mention, though, that prior to Mike Joy, you had Ken Squire doing the shows as well. So they've had some unbelievable talent that has gone in there and broadcast that event. So Fox knows what their marquee properties are, about 190 countries. Now, for all you auto racing fans are wondering possible winners, since I have a little bit more knowledge on auto racing than my panel here, a couple names: Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, and here's the third one. Any first-time driver could win it. Because how many times have you had a first-time driver win the Daytona 500? But it's incredible. I'm glad that Fox has taken it under their wing and that they've been able to go out there and run with it. And it's theirs. You know, again, mind you, the NFL's over. So what better way to transition than over to NASCAR? And just to let everybody know in the audience, South Florida Tribune has NASCAR communications on our media distribution list. So they send us all the updates as well. So we enjoy doing NASCAR stuff. We do enjoy doing IMSA. Auto racing is a great sport, and it's always been a passion of mine. Everybody knows me for the 4 major sports, but auto racing, I've actually driven 12 laps around the Homestead Speedway, and my speed topped at 147 miles an hour. You know, when I told my wife that it's the best day of my life, she says, even over our wedding, well, you know, not that you're getting on the Mrs. Bad side, but Candy, you understand, because she knows what I'm like on the interstate anyways, you know. I hope there aren't any cops watching or listening to the broadcast, but when the situation presented it, I've hit 100 miles an hour on the interstate because I gave myself the auto racing nickname, the Interstate Intimidator. You know, my wife has to have her iPad and her tablet there when she's in the passenger seat. It's all good. Never got the tickets. I mean, the only ticket I ever got, and I know I'm getting off subject with Fox, but it's just auto racing, okay? And right. I want to really talk about this sport because I'm fired up, turned up, all that good stuff, sport type people. But the one thing I'll tell you is when I covered the Talladega race, I ended up flying up one of those interstates, and I changed lanes 3 times. And real quick, the guy thought I was driving under the influence, and he pulled me over and said, "Listen, officer, it's not what you think. I know why you pulled me over. I get it. No problem. But I'll tell you what, I'm not driving under the influence. So here's what I'm going to do. I'll give you the breathalyzer that you may think you want, but I don't think anybody's driving under the influence when you have tons of Diet Mountain Dew in your system. And I'm trying to get to the Talladega 500 with no place to stay, and I was just approved a couple days ago. So what ended up happening? Instead of nailing me for a $300 or $400 fine, he gave me a slap on the wrist. He said, "All right, I'm not going to give you for the 3-chain DUI business." He said, "You know, I'll just give you the 3-chain violation, 3-lane violation." He said, "By the way, Mr. Officer, just to let you know that my story is true, how would you like to subscribe to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel so you know who the heck you're dealing with on the road?" And I think the guy was actually intrigued and was going to do it. So it was just one of those kind of things where, you know, the need for speed, man. That's really what it comes down all about, people. You know, when I'm not on the sports rap, I'm rapping anyways, no matter who the heck wants to listen to me. So, Fox, kudos to you. Chris Myers, a guy I worked with in Miami many years ago when he started his broadcasting career working for a local TV. We all know how well Chris Myers has done on Fox and everything. I didn't see him at the Super Bowl, but I go back a long time with a lot of these people, and anytime I get an opportunity to cover a NASCAR race, I will. I'm working on one that I'm going to work, hopefully in April. I'll divulge that if it comes closer to fruition. So 25 years, Fox. I hope you have another 25 years. Who knows who will be broadcasting the event. Daytona 500 is a must-see bucket list. And for those of you who forgot my predictions, all I encourage you to do is watch the show and rewind it. And you can watch it many times because we're giving you a lot. We're packing a lot into the wrap today.
All right. Patty Grimes says, "What's up? What's up, Patty? Thank you for being part of the program." And Patty says, I did a 120 since my 1963 Chevy Impala once, but golf tickets for 80. So there you are. All right, Leo, your thoughts. 25 years of Fox covering Daytona 500.
The only thing that really bothers me is when the first thought of Daytona comes to my mind, it's the Terminator. It's Dale Earnhardt and what happened there.
Right.
And that shouldn't be. But
Right.
it was just so sad to watch that and to know that that's what took number 3 out of everything. But being in Florida, and Scott knows, Daytona is the Super Bowl of racing.
Right.
It is just big, and it's big with a capital B-I-G. And that Fox basically takes it under its wing and has germinated this broadcast to become something that goes to 180 countries. Wow, I don't think
No,
the Super Bowl
190.
goes that many. So,
190.
yeah,
Yeah.
190, my brother. You're forgetting 10.
I got to keep something in my pocket here. Right?
Oh, okay. Well, I knew you would. That's why 2 guys from the Tampa area, like I am with you, my brother, I knew you were going to do that. I'm proud of you, Mr. Haggerty. Good stuff, brother.
All right, Pensman.
I'm proud of Fox. I love Daytona. If you're not a NASCAR fan, you always got to tune in to Daytona. And since Leo brought it up, I watched the Earnhardt crash live when he did die. But you got it back to Fox when he wrecked. He tuned to Dale Earnhardt Jr. He did this. He tuned into every other segment. Fox did really good there. When he showed the car, then he did this, and they showed this other parts of the track. But Fox is awesome. It's the best network for NASCAR. That you got Michael Waltrip. Darrell Waltrip's not there anymore, but you got Kevin Harvick, and you got all these good guys. Jeff Gordon's starting to step up. He's starting to get better with commentary. So I'm just proud of Daytona when Fox covering it. Hopefully it's another 25 years. Hopefully they don't lose contract and keep doing it.
All right. I have a question for everybody here. And I know Scott said that Daytona 500 is the mecca of racing. What about the Indianapolis 500? I mean, I'm not into car racing. Is that just as good, guys, or is it mediocre, or what's your thoughts on this? We'll go with you, Leo, first.
Totally different dynamic, Ralph. Again,
Okay.
one's NASCAR, the other's IndyCar or F1, whatever you want to call it. But
Right.
I'll tell you what, if you've been to a NASCAR race, the sound is amazing. You go to an IndyCar or a Formula One, it sounds like the jets going by.
Right.
That's how fast those guys go. And keep in mind now, with NASCAR, it got to be so fast, especially down at Texas Motor Speedway, where they were hitting 200 plus. Some of the drivers were passing out because of the speed and the centrifugal force and the gravity. They had to put restrictor plates on them to keep them basically under 220 miles an hour. Formula One, you just it's pedal to the metal as fast as you can go. But yeah, we're talking 2 different dynamics, Ralph, but 2 very important parts of motor racing.
Bensman, your thoughts, Indianapolis versus Daytona.
Daytona is the Super Bowl of NASCAR. Indy 500 is kind of like it, but Daytona takes Indy 500 any day.
Okay. Scott.
Totally disagree, Pensman. Indy 500 all the way. It's been around a lot longer. The history of the racetrack. I've been to that track quite a few times, probably 8 to 10 times. Unbelievable. You have to understand that Daytona 500 is great. It's in Florida. It's by the beach. And they used to have that race on the beach before they moved it to the track where they're at now. But if you've ever been to Indianapolis, it's just unbelievable. It just is. I've been to a couple of those races as well, and they are fast. If you've ever walked around that track, you could probably put who knows how many different venues on the infield. It's that big. The crowds are massive. Trying to get hotels around there is unbelievable. And we all know full well that Indianapolis is a decent-sized city, but that event is even unbelievable. I'll take it a step further, though. How would you like to go to an Indianapolis 500 the same weekend when the Indiana Pacers are in the NBA semifinals and finals? Because I did. Now, I didn't cover them. I ended up buying tickets for both events, but still. And then let's not forget adding the parade to it. I don't think that Daytona has a parade to it at all, but I'm not knocking it because I've been to both. I can compare and contrast when you've been to both events. So I have to say the Indianapolis 500 gets the edge when you compare and contrast the two. And I'm proud to say I've been to both. I've never been to a Kentucky Derby. I'm still finding it hard to believe that I could go to an event where they're only racing 3 minutes and all the hype around it can be as hard. I'm not to say I won't do it, but Indy over Daytona, but by a narrow margin because the race is longer. The history is what it is. If you've ever heard Mary Ann Holman say, gentlemen, start your engines until they brought a woman in there. Drivers start their engines. If you've ever heard Jim Neighbors go out there and see back home in Indiana, what do you have in Daytona for that? Back home in Indiana. If you can't gravitate to Jim Neighbors singing back home in Indiana, seriously? Really? Come on, people, get with it. And forget about Gomer Pyle. This guy is in Indiana. He's revered there. He is revered there.
Scott, you hit the nail on the head. That's the thing that puts Indianapolis over Daytona. Gomer Pyle sitting there, and the sound that comes out of his mouth is like, you got to be kidding me. You know, golly gee, and then all of a sudden, back home.
Exactly. You don't see him getting reamed by Sergeant Carter there. He's giving it to you with the verbal stuff. How many guys on TV, soap operas like Jack Wagner sounded great on General Hospital? Now we're really getting off base. So this is fun. This is what Sports Rap is about, people. We can get off topic. It don't matter. We can go everywhere we want. It doesn't matter. But Jack Wagner, one of the best cotton-picking actors ever on General Hospital, and he's a dynamite singer. But Gomer Pyle, back home in Indiana, Florence Henderson, people, over at the parade in Indianapolis. Market Square Arena, Shaq against the Pacers. And if that wasn't good enough, what about Reggie Miller taking on the New York Knicks that he can't stand anyway? If it were up to Reggie Miller, you know what would end up happening? He called them a bum because he never liked them in the first place. It doesn't matter if it's an external bum, an internal bum. They don't like each other. Spike Lee, you got bums there. We don't call it this no more on this show. But I'm not going to say I won't make a reference now and then on it. But the reality of Jim Neighbors, people, cop that one, Daytona. You can't do it back home in Indiana. I don't see anybody saying back home in Florida because we're all transplants except for the locals that live here anyway. About 50-50 or 64, I don't even know. Depends on what part of the state you go to. Great topic, Ralph. My God, there's over you broadcasting after all. Really, we're making progress, right, Leo? Can you see a drastic improvement in Mr. Williams? All he has to do is take my verbal beatings on Messenger so we can pump a little bit of journalism 101. He's good, but we can make him better, right, Leo? Can we do that? Get this guy turned around? You bet we can. Great topic, Williams. I'm proud of you, pal.
Hey, thank you. All right. Let's go to the chat here. Cyberuski said, what's going on, everybody? Hello, Cyberuski. He says Daytona over Indy. And then Cyberuski got the Kentucky Derby over both of these.
Well, that's all right. Hey, listen, you know what? These are the comments that we embrace, okay? This is what we want in the chat room. I love these kinds of comments. I really do. Hey,
Josh
you like horse racing overall, right? No problem. Put it out there. We want to see it. I guarantee Ralph will put them all up there, and then I won't lose my voice by the end of the show because I got 9 million hours later anyways. Doesn't matter if I do. So what? I got another half that'll talk for me.
All right. Now we have Sabruski said, Scott, you got to remember during the Derby, there are a bunch of races, not just one. All right.
Okay. Then, good point.
All right. And sorry, Josh, I can't put that up. So.
Well, you can't part of it. All you have to do is ... and put the rest of it. Put it back up there, Williams. Don't ignore my man, Josh Adore. In fact, if you don't have the guts to say it, I'll do it. All right. All right. Go back to that previous one. All right. Go on. Just because you don't have the guts to do it. All right. No. You may have forgot the second word, but I'll take care of that one for you, Joshua. Don't worry. Don't worry. All he has to do is find it. Okay, well, that's not. He'll do it. Well, that's a fun.
Yeah. It
I
says
love
my
Josh Shador. He's just a certain guy that you have to kind of get used to dealing with a little bit and understand the psychology that he means well. Come on, Ralph, be better with the chat room. I want to get that one back up there because that's what this sports rap is all about. Now, keep going. I don't know.
All right. It says my order is Kentucky Derby, Daytona, and Indy, says Cyberuski. And then we got Penny Pensman. There we go.
All right,
says
all he was talking about was Scotty Slapper being back. That's all. That's no big deal. Forget about don't ever be afraid to go out there and mention things. If you don't want to mention them in the chat room, I'll do it for you because I know the people we're dealing with. They mean very well. They contribute to the audience. And one thing about these guys is they share the shows, and that's what helps your ratings go up. And when your ratings go up, everybody's happy because I get to promote a book and you get your sponsors. You get it, Ralph? Right, Josh? I agree.
I got it. Okay. All right. Our next segment is brought to you in part by the original hometown pizza, Moon Township, University Boulevard. Stop by today, get a pizza, 412-264-4444. They make some great pizza. Wait till you check out their hoagies. Oh, my gosh, they have some great hoagies. A great menu, and check it out. Also, if you want takeout, delivery, or eat-in, deliveries in the Moon Township area only. And eat-in, I tell you what, go and have an eat-in. They have foosball there. They have some real old-fashioned 80s games like Pac-Man, Galaga. Nice atmosphere to go and eat in and have some delicious pizza, the original hometown pizza, Moon Township. All right, let's get into the Super Bowl. Let's talk about thoughts on the Super Bowl. I know the Eagles blew this out, but, I want everyone's thoughts here and your thoughts as well in the chat room about the Super Bowl. Pensman, we'll start with you.
Okay. All right. I thought the Super Bowl was okay. Just okay. The Eagles came out, they played, they were hungry, they wanted their revenge on the Chiefs several years ago. They got the revenge. I forget what his name is because I'm not an Eagles fan. Happy birthday to the player that got the interception. Yada yada yada.
Cooper DeJean.
That's it. That's
it.
I hope he had a good birthday. It was good for him to win a Super Bowl on his birthday. I could never say that because I was never a football player. But as far as the halftime show, I thought it was boring. I didn't understand what Lamar was saying, but people liked it. He had a message, but it is what it is. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles of winning your second Super Bowl. As much as it kills me, that's my take on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, what kills you is the fact that Kenny Pickett got a ring and he didn't get one.
Oh, that's me. I'm the one that's.
Well, it doesn't matter. You're both Pittsburgh guys, so deal with it.
Hey, he got a ring. Good for him. That's all I can say. And two other Pitt players got rings too: Devontae Adams and AJ Wood. All the three of them all got rings. So good for them. I'm happy for them and everything else. So Kendrick Lamar, by the way, Pensman, teams up a lot with Taylor Swift. He's done some songs with her, and that's probably another reason why he was the halftime show as well.
No, I get that. It's just that he was so close to the microphone and you could barely hear what he was singing.
What he's saying, yeah, he does that.
I don't think he's got talent. I think either he's got talent, but it's just he was so close to the microphone. All you heard was boom, like that. That's all you heard.
Okay, question for Leo. Here, hold on a minute. Let's see what we got here. Okay, Cyberuski says, question for Leo. Did you like the halftime show? Leo, go ahead.
I can't answer that because I turned it off. I mean, I will be honest with you. I was sitting with 300 of my closest Philadelphia Eagles fans over at Muggs Bar in Largo at the Tampa Eagles Club run by Paul Perone. We were sitting there. It's 24-0. We're celebrating at halftime. We're not listening to this. And, we're talking about, the things that happened that made that game work the way it did. But I'm going to throw one back at you. What was the first halftime show at Super Bowl I?
Scott?
This will make you money at a bar.
Oh, man, that's a real tough question there.
I wouldn't even touch those with a 10-foot
Beatles.
pole.
Oh, okay. I thought
Hey,
you would
guys.
know that.
It's a Florida group, and there's
Molly
100 of them.
Molly Hatchet. Because Molly Hatchet's from Jacksonville.
The Florida A&M marching band was the
Oh,
halftime
there you go.
entertainment at the Super Bowl. In fact, it wasn't even the Super Bowl back then. It was just called Game 1. That didn't
Right.
come into play until, I think, Game 3.
Right. Well, but they're still going to call it Super Bowl one anyways until they figure it out.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, they've given a new rise to Roman numerals, that's for sure.
Yeah, I lost count after 9. So once
Hey,
you get,
Cyberooski says, please listen to the cartoons and the serial by Kendrick Lamar when you get a chance. All right. Leo's a Philly
You
guy.
want me to stay with my Super Bowl opinions while we're here, or what?
I will, Leo. Go ahead. You can go.
All right, guys, I'm going to give you two things that nobody's really catching on to that myself and Ken Podolak and Al Curtis all saw right away. Let's start with the offense for the Philadelphia Eagles. Spagnuolo said, okay, I got to do one of two things. I either got to stop Barkley or I got to pressure Hurts. Can't do both. So he did the logical thing. He said, I'm going to take away Barkley because that's their bread and butter. What that did was it eliminated a pass rush because now you're playing as a defense gap control. Plus, if you watch the film or watch the game intently, one of the safeties for Kansas City mirrored Barkley, went wherever he went. That told Hurts that they're playing man-to-man the whole time. And they could get no pass rush. What Spagnuolo was hoping was to get them into third and obvious passing situations so he could come with pressure. The problem was when he came with pressure, Hurts just beat it with his legs. And that's the one thing, and it was up there early that Kansas City was in trouble with that. The second thing was everybody talked about the Eagles' pass rush, how they did it with 4 guys. Yes, they did. And Ron Jaworski preaches that what scares the quarterback the most is color in his face. And Davis and Carter just pushed the center and the guards back into Mahomes. The Eagles' edge rushers did not get past Mahomes, creating angles for him to get back. They were pressuring the pocket in as well. The thing that people miss is that the Eagles rushed 4 but committed a 5th guy. They had a spy in either the linebacker or one of the defensive backs, and it was a different guy every play. Mahomes had to not only deal with the rush, but he had to figure out who's the spy. In fact, the bomb interception at the end of the first half, he was the spy, and Mahomes didn't catch it. So, and I'll tell you what, when your offensive line can't block the defensive line, it's going to be a long afternoon for your quarterback because Fangio had the most simplistic defensive scheme in the world. My 4 guys up front are bigger, faster, stronger, and meaner than your guys, and we're going to pressure you. And from an offensive standpoint, Kellen Moore had the same thing. My front 5 are meaner, bigger, stronger, and faster than any of your guys. So I'm not surprised with the outcome. The Eagles were the better team.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think the Eagles came at him, and I got to give Vic Fangio credit for putting a spy on Mahomes, with like Leo said. And, so, Scott, your thoughts on the Super Bowl? Go ahead.
Well, I have to admit, I did predict the Chiefs to win it, to get their 3-peat. I'm not afraid to admit when I make a prediction. If it isn't right, I'll own it. But the reason why I felt that the Chiefs could win is Travis Kelce, I thought, would have a better game than he turned out. DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster as wideouts to go along with Kelce and Xavier Worthy. These guys are an excellent out team there. So I felt, and Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. And the way I look at it is, even though they lost the game, let's not forget to give Philadelphia credit where it's due. They played a great game. Vic Fangio did a good job. I asked Nick Sirianni, about during our first media availability about the thought of probably going ahead and losing both of his assistant coaches to head coaching jobs. And I signaled out Kellen Moore. He said, hey, when you're a good football team, you do. I'd love to keep them around. But that's what happens when you win. Teams are going to want to get your top assistants and hire them as head coaches. And he acknowledged it in a way where Nick Sirianni is class all the way. So give credit to them. You know, I had a lot of great interviews. What I'm going to tell you about my week goes beyond the game. It was about the week because what I do when I cover a Super Bowl is I go to the team press conferences, every one. There was only one that I missed. It was the Philadelphia Eagles one because I opted to go to the NHL Players Association media availability instead and got some useful information for our platform. Otherwise, I went to 3 Chiefs and 2 Eagles, and they were both great. Got a lot of great players that over the course of time you'll get. I'll just make one point about the halftime show. At the beginning of the trip, we went to Biloxi, Mississippi, stayed at the IP Resort and Casino. Great place. They hosted us. It was an unbelievable place. And then on the back end, we stayed there to watch the game over at the FanDuel Sportsbook. And we had an hour wait until we were able to get into our seat. So I didn't hear the halftime show. I was sitting there watching it from a distance, working the one-arm bandits a little bit as well, winning a little bit of money along the lines. My wife told me the other day that when the trip was all said and done, that I netted $560 in my pocket, and that doesn't count the front end of the trip when we ended up winning a little bit more money, and I invested it into souvenirs like a few jackets. I got her a butterfly ring. And
Forgot to buy me an ashtray.
Yeah, I get that. No, I got a couple of hoodies. We had a lot of good stuff. So, no, I go to the casinos, and I'm not one of those avid gamblers out there. Really not. I want to make a little bit of money so it'll cut down on my bottom line. So I didn't watch the halftime show. I was too busy waiting for my table, which was an hour away. We finally got there, and it was a good time all the way on. Now, I've covered 4 games, as I reiterated. This is about the week and networking connections. And the thing that I learned about this experience versus other ones is what you do on Monday through Friday is really what it's all about in terms of your networking, your ability to get good interviews. I took my wife over to Bourbon Street, Jackson Square, and she got the Superdome for opening night. So she got New Orleans all the way. It was just an unbelievable experience when you put some of the whole and everything in its proper perspective. And if anybody ever goes to New Orleans, it's just an awesome place. Got French Quarter, Jackson Square, Bourbon Street. Doesn't get any better than that, let alone a Super Bowl environment with all the energy, the Eagles shirts all the way around, the Chiefs and all the. Hey, if you can't get into a game, you might as well watch it at all the 9 million places in New Orleans, including Pat O'Brien's. It's my favorite place. But I didn't get stoned this time because my medical situation really won't allow me to. But let me tell you, they have some good food. Mark my word. Have you ever had Bloody Mary chicken tenders?
No, I've never been to New Orleans. I've never had anything like that.
They're actually pretty good. Then I had the chicken gumbo soup when I went there the second time, so it's pretty good stuff. They got good food.
Gumbo's the thing down in New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm used to getting hammered by hurricane drinks because I've been to the Final Four and lots of Lions games. It's just unbelievable stuff. Great experience all the way around. Hey, Eagles were the better team. It would have been interesting to see the Chiefs three-peat because I asked Andy Reid about that and connected him to Pat Riley. Ate that one up alive. And nobody else could get anything out of him there. But when you put Pat Riley and Andy Reid in the same sentence, Andy's going to talk, and he bit on it, and he was really good about it. And one more thing I want to add, I want to say a special thanks to the Kansas City Chiefs main communications guy. He gave me an opportunity to ask questions on every time I put my hand up during the media availability sessions when the Chiefs were involved. And this guy's great. And I will be reaching out to him, hopefully lining up a future relationship with him. Great experience. Glad to be there to talk about it.
All right, we're going to go to the chat room real quick here. Pensman, it says, looks like you are out of your sling. Congrats, buddy. And then welcome Deloy77 to the show. And thank you for your comments as well. Cyberuski said, we all know the NFL let the Eagles win, or else everyone would have been mad about the numbers. It would go down. Delu77 says, I agree with Cyberuski. And then Cyberuski says he liked to hear that NHL, NFL. And then let's see here. Great. It says Cyberuski said, great story, Scott. Thanks for sharing. And then Cyberuski said, Ralph is luck to have on his network. yes, I'm lucky to have great people like Leo, Scott, and Pensman. I'm glad to have great people working here, and I have some great contacts here in Pittsburgh. And like we had Ray Fittipaldo on the show, and I want to thank Leo because Leo gets me a lot of people that I need for all the NFL teams as well. And I want to thank Scott for his wisdom and things that he's been teaching me over the years, and being part of the program. Him and Candy have been very supportive of everything I'm doing. So I want to thank them as well.
I want to
All
make
right,
a reference here to a comment that Joshua Dora put up there that we were able to get to. Joshua Dora has his dad is from the greater Philadelphia area, and he's an avid Flyers fan is what he is, and I met him a couple of times. So Josh's dad is actually a Flyers guy back in the days when the Flyers were relevant, Broad Street Bullies and all that stuff. So I understand what the connection there. Joshua is obviously a big Panthers guy, more power to him. That he was pretty much raised in this neck of the woods. So, there's no question that the Joshua and his dad and his family were pulling for the Eagles because of the back roots that they have going there. So I want to address that a little bit later in the show. I know that we've been really busy, unquestionably, of all the shows I've been on with you, Ralph. Since we've been doing it the longest, this is no question the top best show we've ever done. But I'm not content with just best because I'm looking to make sure it's bester and bester, and maybe all of us can go out there and trademark that name and all that business on the road. So this was a good first act, but I'm not content with it. I want to continue to make it better week in and week out as it continues to grow. But Josh, more power to you. I understand your Philadelphia connection. I want to make sure that we brought it up here on the big show today.
Oh yeah, exactly. And you know what they say, fly Eagles fly. Okay, part of the triple header of Ralph Saturday. We heard that we had the Ralph Williams Tony Moreno show this morning. I had Mayor Cletus Lee on from North Braddock to talk about the U.S. Steel, Nippon Steel. We're here for the sports wrap show, and then later on this afternoon, 2 to 3 p.m., the Sports Corner radio show on 1250 a.m. 92.5 The Answer with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. Great sports talk, and we're beating the big boys in the ratings. I just got the rating sheet from a media guy I know, and so we're beating them in the ratings. All right, this next segment, RW Media Productions. If you're interested in any sponsorship advertising, please call 412-545-4317 or ralphwilliams737@gmail.com. We have plans that we have a website, www.rwmediaproductions.com. We'll put your business on there, also on the 2 radio shows and 6 podcasts right here on all of our social media platforms, including Huddle Sports Network. Real fast here, we got to get ready to wrap things up here shortly. Kellen Moore, new head coach with New Orleans Saints, went out with a bang, won the Super Bowl. Start with you, Scott.
He's going to do great in New Orleans. He really will. He'll get that quarterback situation figured out. Keep in mind, there's free agency to work with. I'll have to figure out the Derek Carr situation. And let's face the reality, I think the biggest mistake was the Dallas Cowboys for not hiring him. I think the Cowboys should have hired him. Ryan Schottenheimer not going to downplay the significance of his connection, but what Kellen Moore did with Dak Prescott, but shame on Sherry, more power to the Saints. And I actually saw them win a Super Bowl here in Miami or the Indianapolis Colts. I want to say that was Super Bowl 44. It was unbelievable. So more power to Kellen Moore. Yeah, more power to Kellen Moore, pun intended. Okay. And I think the Saints made an excellent hire there. And again, as I mentioned before about Nick Sirianni, he in that question that we talked about,
yes,
he knew he was going to go. He didn't want him to go. Nobody wants him to go. The Philadelphia Eagles have lost a lot of assistant coaches, just like the Lions have done. But they also have a couple. Nick Sirianni's been to 2 Super Bowls in 4 years. But if you're going to lose assistants, at least you're doing it this way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Pensman, your thoughts real quick. Kellen Moore, New Orleans Saints.
Good hire. You knew that he was going to go before the Super Bowl, and when he did, he failed in Dallas. He went to Dallas offensive line. Offense is not capable of doing what Moore wanted him to do. Philly, he wanted to do. Nick Sirianni and him had a good relationship going, had good chemistry. They knew what they were going to do, and they did. They succeeded. What they're going to do on March 13th, they're going to go and probably get some good players. They'll get the quarterback fixed, and then he's going to develop that quarterback into the quarterback that Moore wants him to be, and we'll see what happens at NFC South division, how that goes forward with Kellen Moore.
All right, the Leo.
Is Kellen Moore ready for this job? Probably not. Is Liam Cohen ready for Jacksonville?
Yeah,
Probably not. But there's
say
only
that. Yes.
32 in the world. I go back and look and say, if somebody offered me the job as coach of the Saints, I'd say, yeah, right now. Boom, sign me up. So, yeah, take your shot. He's coming in. And, guys, I really feel sorry for the Detroit Lions next year because they're going to be in the same boat Philadelphia was 3 years ago when they lost both coordinators. It takes a while, and you may have the wrong guy in. Give Sirianni a lot of credit. He realized that after the first, hey guys, we got the wrong people in. We got to move on. But I think he'll do well. The NFC South is not the NFC North, the NFC East. You got a shot to be competitive right away. He's got to get Carr healthy. He's got to decide that who's the quarterback. And the bottom line is, what are you doing with Kamala? Their whole offense should go through him, should go through 41. The problem is they don't give him enough touches. Kind of like what happens down in Baltimore. You don't give Henry enough. But I think he'll do well.
Hey, Leo, I'm going to say this. I disagree with you on the Lions, and I'll tell you why. I'm on their media distribution list. Dan Campbell's been preparing for this for the last couple of years. They got some excellent new assistant replacements. Will they win 15 games? Probably not. I would predict somewhere maybe 12. Right. Well, but you know what? Where did 15 games get them? Okay, they didn't get to the Super Bowl with 15, so it doesn't make a lick of difference anyways. So I don't feel sorry for him at all. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have been preparing for this. So you win 12, 13 games, not the worst thing in the world at all, Leo, with all due respect. Because, again, when you think of how many teams that won the Super Bowl with 15 games, even Kansas City didn't do it, right? Kansas City, Detroit, and the Eagles did win. So I know, right?
The thing, Scott, is they took two coaches from the Bucs to come up there. And I'm going, okay, this is interesting.
Well, I was hoping that they would get Foote, actually, Larry Foote, but you kept him, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping to get him, Detroit Times, but I love the banner with us, how we have the Detroit Tampa thing. It'll be interesting stuff.
All right.
12-13 wins isn't a bad consolation prize as long as you win playoff games.
Any double-digit win is a good season in the NFL.
Absolutely. Totally agreed.
All right, let's move along here. Some people got things to do. I don't, but some of us here in the panel. All right, we're going to do a double take here. Bum, tell us your bum for the show today, and how people can get a hold of you and closing arguments or closing segment. Or closing thoughts. Start with you, Leo.
I don't know if I used this last week, but my bum is these guys who are bracketologists that are picking 9 SEC teams in the top 25. Okay, I get that, but get with the program, guys. Somebody's got to lose games, and you can't. What's really going to be upsetting is when they put teams in that have a less than 500 record in their conference. That should be a prerequisite. So my bum is the SEC and these bracketologists that are saying, okay, there's 9 teams in here that really are really, really good. Well, guess what? Some of them aren't because they're playing in that conference. And check us out, AFL Sports. Scott, I think we got USF coming down your way to FAU this weekend.
You going to be there?
I can't make that one, no.
That's okay. I don't know what my schedule is like with Miami. I know USF plays Miami. I'll be at that game.
Okay, Pensman.
My bum is the New York Yankees right now. That's my team. I've always liked that team, but Hal Steinbrenner, you said that you can't afford good players. Yes, you can. You gotta listen to the fans. You gotta do what you gotta do to put a championship team together. You haven't won a World Series since 2009. George Steinbrenner would be mad at you and yell at you from ear to ear. Get your stuff together. Let's go out there and get a World Series. Let's go, Hal. Let's get it together.
Hey, thanks. I want to thank Joey here, who just tuned into the show, and unfortunately, we're getting ready to go off. Thank you for being part of the program. Is Ben Charrington? You know what, Joey? You stole my thunder because that's my bum. But Scott, go ahead. Your bum and closing thoughts and how they can get a hold of you.
All right, thank you very much, Ralph. Appreciate it. Great first act with the sports wrap. I'm going to really give you basically 2 or 3 quick ones with my bum segment. Number one, the Philadelphia fan that threw a beer can that hit Howie Roseman in the head. That was stupid. I feel bad for those 2 individuals that got shot at the parade. That's not what these parades are all about. But the biggest one is Joel Embiid keeps racking up missed games due to injury. Joel Embiid reminds me of somebody that we're all too familiar with, Humpty Dumpty. Okay, all he does is keep falling off the wall, and it's just unfortunate. I get me wrong. Congratulations to the Eagles. It's unfortunate to see a general manager get a beer can thrown at him and then 2 shots. But Joel Embiid has always been the bigger bum of the 3 because he's the least durable that I've ever seen. And I remember years ago, Sam Bowie didn't have the career he should have had because of injuries, and the list goes on and on. Getting a hold of me, it's easy. We talk about my book, Lessons from the Microphone, www.southfloridatribune.com gets it done, at Tribune South on Twitter, and you can just look me up. And another thing I should point out real quick, Fire Up and Sports Wrap go hand in hand. Ralph does an excellent job contributing there. Leo, looking forward to getting you on there. Pensman's on there as well. And the Fire Up show is going to have a country club atmosphere with Candy on there, being very laid back. I usually take that night off unless I have to go on. So I love the fact that we have Fire Up and Sports Wrap as a good 1-2 punch. So
yes,
my website, my book, my YouTube channel, South Florida Tribune, hit subscribe. Great stuff. Excited about doing this every week, and we're going to do some great stuff with this show.
All right, real quick here, I'm going to put Scott's book up for everybody to see here, and there it is right there. Lessons from the Microphone. It says tuning into enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. Pick it up at Barnes and Noble or on Amazon, like I did, and or his publisher, and you can get the book. It's a great book. Talks about 45 years of experience in the media business. And it's a great book to check out. All right, I'm going to close up here with this announcement here. My friend Claudio Rosano is going to be on Tuesday. Will be at Highmark Stadium here in Pittsburgh. He's doing a leadership playbook event where he's going to be talking about teaching you some things here in the leadership playbook. It's Tuesday, 6 to 8 p.m. down at Highmark Stadium, $40 per person. So head on down and see Claudio. I will be there. I will be there. I'll be in an electric power wheelchair. So stop up, see me. If you see me, say hello. I urge you to come and check out my friend Claudio Rosano here for this event on Tuesday, coming up on the 18th. All right, you can get a hold of me at YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X, and also you please follow me on Twitter, X, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also, don't forget the radio shows on 1250 a.m. and 92.5 FM. The Answer, the Ralph Williams, Tony Moreno show, and the Sports Corner radio show coming up this afternoon, 2 to 3 p.m. Please tune into the Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudio Rosano, and Luther Dupree. Also, don't forget, we have this show here on Saturdays as well at 9 a.m. And don't forget to tune into my other shows Monday. We're doing The Way We See It 2-hour special because Bill and I, Bill was moving in the middle of moving, and so he kind of dashed out, and then I had some health issues this week, and my wife had to go get a boot put on her ankle, so I got distracted with all that, so we weren't able to do The Way We See It. So that'll be 2 hours coming up this coming Monday, 6 to 8 p.m. We got a lot to talk about as well. And also, I'm going to be exploring and looking at getting onto Spreaker Radio. I'm looking into that as well, and some other entities. And Sports Bible is coming up real soon with JT Toth. A lot of us know JT from Draft Nation, but now he started his own entity called Sports Bible. All my shows, all my sports programming will be on there as well. And I want to thank Candy Ebling and Scott Morganroth for letting me broadcast on their network as well. So, all right. For Scott Morganroth, Leo Haggerty, and Pensman, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today for our debut of Sports Wrap. And don't forget, call your friend, call your cousin, call somebody, get them here every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Have yourself a great one, and thank you for tuning in. Have a good day. Thank you.
Have a good day, guys.
Have a good day.